Okay. So we are having Bronwen Zande with us today, just after your presentation about. Tell me, you logged 1,000 architects, and you wanted to see what will come out. So my first question is actually, how did you manage to put 1,000 architects in one room?
Well, luckily they're not real people, so we didn't, violate any fire codes or human rights or anything. So I generated 1,000 different AI personas, and they each created a design. And then what we did was we locked them in a virtual room and put them through a tournament to see, so they could battle it out, reviewing each other's designs to come to a conclusion of which of those out of those 1,000 architects had the best design.
Okay, nice. That makes sense with AI and everything that is revolutionizing our world out today. But did you just actually generate it and leave it like this? So you didn't do any fine tuning. You just relied on what was generated when creating these personas?
Yeah, so for the personas, because we're generating 1,000, I wanted to make them quite diverse. So we mixed them up by genders, we used different countries. So I used a particular ISO standard so that there was 249 different countries. So each country of the world was represented by at least 4 architects. And then we mixed up the levels of experience, what types of stack they use and stuff like that. And then they would generate their own designs.
Okay.
So they're all quite varied, and it brought it in. So if you're from Australia, it would reference Australian privacy principles versus European, etc. So each brought in little bits of their own country into their designs.
Okay. So now I'm really curious. What was the outcome of this?
But won't they have to watch the video to see who won?
Okay.
No, I can tell you. So there was a lady called Layla. So she was player 934. So she won. She had 16 years experience. She was a security architect. So her architectural design was multi-tenanted. So she had a CMS, she had a React Java, she had some Kubernetes, she had Docker, she had multiple databases to handle different parts of the database. But she won. She won on all sorts of different rounds.
And do you think that actually, because at some point when I was watching your presentation, I was thinking, is it really a way to, at some point, to choose the perfect architecture for our systems, just a battle? Or is it always just a one way to go with the architecture?
Yeah, so that's the particular one I chose because I probably went slightly overboard by picking 1,000. You probably don't need to generate 1,000 different architectures, so I needed to cull them down pretty quickly. So I used a tournament style to knock out round. Obviously, there's a bunch of different ways you can do it. The template the process that I use would allow you to change that, right? So how I would probably change it is use each of their experience to contribute to different parts of the document. So if she was a security expert, maybe she should only fill out the security section, and maybe the data architect should fill out the database rather than each of them doing a whole design. Also, you could have feedback loops. So this one, they had a one go at it, right? So they couldn't ask the client any questions. To improve that, you might have the client give them feedback on the architecture, and then they could do a round 2 because you generally just don't get a spec from a client and go, here's your architecture, take it or leave it. So it was a bit of a thought experiment to see what would happen.
Yeah, so if that was just a theoretical, do you think that it could be actually practical at some point with the modern AI models that we will be choosing the right architecture based on the outcome of some prompts that will provide to the models?
Yeah, so I think with all the new agent MCP type patterns that are starting to emerge, that a bunch of the announcements and build and stuff, the ability to use those agents to do different things based on knowledge it can get to. So you could have your own companies particular requirements around architecture as well, and it have tools so you can get to GitHub, check it in, check it out. You could access different parts of systems and use those agents to help you build a very good first try. Of an architecture. Yeah,
and do you think that we can rely on that? Because I have just a feeling that any time, at least with people with more than 5 years of experience, we still need to have a control over what is generated, which is probably a good thing when it comes to the development, when it's done with code generation. But what about such decisions on the architecture level.
Yeah, I think you always want to have a human in the loop at some point, right? So in my example, I would check like what the output was, what the score was, see how it was going, and you wouldn't just generally take that output and implement it. Like you could get the agent to go create the code for you, but you would want to send it through a human review process to make sure it was going to be okay with the client. Because you don't want it to generate something that's going to cost them millions and millions of dollars when their budget is only like tens of thousands. So I think it helps you to get a very different range of views, some different outcomes, but like having that human in the loop to help you, it just speeds up the process. I think that's definitely where it's going to help.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well, because I was just worried that if we'll go full on AI trust, then some people that don't have actually this expertise, the long expertise in multiple fields, would just blindly trust that this will be just fine. Let's put it this way, that this is just fine, and we can go present it to the client, and we'll see what happens.
But it's also, you can flip it on its head as well. So if you've gone and consulted an expensive external architect, you could generate an AI persona to review it for you as well if you're not a particular expert in that area, and get input to make sure that what they're saying stacks up as well. So you can use it in different ways to help you.
The problem is that, at least that I have, that whenever you are going with the external architect, you don't always know what he is doing. There are some wizards that come into your company and tell you that some different stuff, and also you cannot trust them fully. So maybe this might be also a way to validate if the external architects are fine when we'll push it to the review to architects that you've generated.
Yeah, and you could get it to review against your specification and find any flaws or add extra questions that you might want to feed back to the architect, like especially if that's not your thing, right? Because you're consulting someone because you have a deficit in knowledge. So to have it help you ask the right questions as well and validate that what they're telling you is actually the best thing for you to do.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think that actually AI will? What's right now a big fear in the industry, that AI will take our places?
I think that our jobs will change. I mean, our jobs have changed over time. Like the sorts of things that we concentrated on in our code 20 years ago is different to what we do now. Like we looked at, we might have been very conscious about how long a string was that we stored in the database because of memory and size. We might have written our own cryptography, type stuff. No one would do that these days, right? So it will change. Our jobs will change. And I think of it, when I think about AI, I kind of think about, so my dad was a cartographer, making maps. So when he did that, he spent a whole semester learning how to write in a certain way, and every map was an art form, and it was all very manual. And by the time he retired, that industry had completely changed to be computerized, and the maps were all very similar, and there was a base, but the industry was still cartography, just how you did it was different. So I think code will be the same. There'll be parts of code that the AI is going to help us with a lot, and there'll be things that we don't even know about yet that we're going to need to evolve. So the skills that we learn today may not be used exactly the same in the future, but I think we will still have jobs, right? It'll just be in a different area or a different part of the system.
Are you already trying to prepare, not only theoretically but also practically for such changes? Do you think that this is actually the time that we need to adapt already, or is this too early?
Well, so I consider myself a lifelong learner, so I like learning new things, and I've been around long enough that you see different cycles, right? So the stacks that I used when I first started coding, no one uses anymore. So if you don't stay current, you end up not having a job, right? So it's no different now. It's just accelerated a little bit at the moment.
Okay.
So I think if you like to learn new things, you want to learn a new skill, and you enjoy learning new things, and you keep doing that, you will have a job somewhere. It just maybe not exactly what you do today. I don't code the same things I do today that I did 20 years ago. Yeah,
most likely. Every year we are seeing some code generation, this or that, scaffolding and stuff like this, something that automates our jobs.
Yeah.
But still we need this, let's say, human touch at the very end. So we should be quite safe. But as you said, we need to adapt to the new changes, to the future actually that is coming to us.
Yeah, if you don't adapt, you will end up having no job. I think. But yeah, I think that's without AI as well. So
Yeah,
without
but-
AI, if you go through cycles, we had Silverlight, we had mobile phone, we had all different frameworks, and if you had only done that and not moved on, you wouldn't be able to get a job today.
Okay, yeah, that's absolutely true. So that's not only for the IT industry, but actually for every industry that is coming to every industry, and it was coming to like the revolutionary tools came to every industry at some point, and they needed to adapt. Okay, so last question.
Yeah.
Do you use AI in your daily job right now?
Yes.
Yes. In what terms? In what
All sorts
kind
of
of
different
tasks?
ways. So, well, I have the GitHub co-pilots of the world to help me with some of the coding tasks. I use like the ChatGPTs and stuff like that to help. Like, I will ask it for different views on designs and different ideas and stuff like that. I use it to help me review documents, to write emails. Like, it just speeds up a bunch of those workflows where it can just help me generate a bunch of stuff a lot quicker. Write, in more individualized, like detailed emails and stuff like that are a lot more personalized that would take you all day.
Okay, that makes absolutely great sense. Thank you very much for meeting me and having us over here in Krakow, and I hope to see you next year as well.
Be awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.